Alrighty. Welcome, everyone. Nebraska weather decided it was coming after all, so we're a little chillier, but still it could be worse. My brother that I was speaking with, and he lives in Sheridan, he's like, yeah, I scooped up a foot of snow. How much snow do you have? I said, well, I think I saw some in the air. So, welcome. I'm going to turn it over to Rabbi here in a second. I want to thank Rabbi again for these classes that he has been providing for us. They've been very well received. I walked up to somebody at a table and said, do you need redemption? That's the title. So if you need the redemption brochure, yes, do you need redeemed? And then the other announcement, a couple more announcements I wanted to make is, where's Sheila? Sheila, hold up your book.
This is the book Rabbi mentioned last week by Jack Miles, God, a biography. If anybody, it's in our library. If anybody, we don't have the library operating yet, but I have the card. If anybody wants to check it out, you can go and take it.
Thank you.
And then lastly, just get in your brains that next Wednesday, and the 2 Wednesdays after that, so November 30th, December 7th, and December 14th, Rabbi will be with us in the evening at our Wednesday Night Alive, and then you get actually not that kind of coffee, you can get the frou-frou coffee with the barista, and popcorn and all sorts of stuff. And so that's at 6:45-ish. We kind of ish it as far as the start time of that, but that'll be the last Wednesday of November and the first 2 Wednesdays of December. So I will turn it over to Rabbi. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Can you hear? Yes. Okay. I need to remember to come with a shirt or a sweater that can connect to the redemption. I love it. Do we need redemption? All of us, daily, by the hour. So I want to make sure that I put the other 2 presentations in a continuance. Every religion has those 3 components built into the religion: the creation, the revelation, and the redemption. So we left the redemption for the last segment. And we all do pretty well with those 3 components. In Jewish tradition, those are really the 3 dimensions that are going into our liturgy. So every time that a Jew comes to pray, they have those 3 segments of the worship at the service. So you start with, of course, the creation, thanking God, acknowledging God's creative power in creating the universe. Then comes the Mount Sinai experience, the revelation, that of course in our tradition is based on the mitzvot, on the commandments that are a gift to all of us to be able to express our relationship to God. And at the end of the service, the redemption comes in. This is when we hope that there will be a day that God's world will be one, and we sing, Alenu L'Shabeach, it's upon us to bow down to God, and hopefully God will create the Tikkun Olam, the mending of the world in God's kingdom. So it's never Tikkun Olam, mending of the world for the sake of mending the world, is mending the world, making it a more perfect place to be in the kingdom of God. So it's not, I am going to deliver food at the food pantry and I will feel good about this. I'm going to deliver the food because this will be one way to perfect God's kingdom. So it's never about us. It's about understanding what the total goal of redemption is all about. living a more perfect life in a more perfect world. So we all have expectations about what redemption is. So let me start by engaging or maybe challenging you. So what are the expectations for redemption among you here? What redemption means to some of you that will be brave enough to start sharing some of this?
Bridging the gap between where myself, and my world is and where God is.
Okay, of God expectations or what?
Yeah, God's expectation and also God's God's a kingdom concept. That I'm in God's kingdom. I'm
Okay,
right
in
feel
God's
right.
kingdom. Okay, so just closing the gap
Yeah,
between your individual life and the life that God expects you to live.
right.
Okay, what else? I don't hear any
I would think that
messianic hopes, yeah.
the kingdom of God upon the earth, which is the kingdom that Jesus actually preached, and that would include people, starting from a position of love and not from a position of hate. So taking our animalistic tendencies, if you would, and instead thinking from a more godlike perspective.
Never really being able to think like God, but definitely draw a picture of what God suggested is a perfect world.
Yes.
And definitely from lots of love, which is a rare commodity at this moment, I think. Actually, this will be a good time to bring the Messiah in. I think there's such a gap at this moment. And you will see from some of the teaching here that a Messiah in Jewish tradition will come in a generation that is all righteous or all evil. So we are okay. I mean, so I think it's a wonderful teaching. So you try to live up to a life of righteousness because you know the Messiah will come. But if you are not successful, you still have the hope that the Messiah will come in a world where everyone is evil. So this is why, for example, the Messiah has not arrived yet. Because there's always at least 40 people in Sodom and Gomorrah that are righteous. So, or evil. I mean, so it's interesting. You'll see how this works in the tradition in Judaism. And you'll be familiar with many of the proof texts, because many of the proof texts will be from what book? Isaiah. Yeah. So you guys are familiar with Isaiah. I wish my people will be as familiar with Isaiah as you guys are. Good morning.
Good morning, I'm sorry.
It's okay, please. Take your time. So let's start. Please open. Are there any other views? Oh, yes, please. I see a hand up.
I thought redemption meant something, forgiveness of all the mistakes you made, plus an opportunity to correct them, or make them.
So this is a personal redemption you're talking about. Yeah, personal redemption. We need to definitely separate between a national peoplehood redemption as people versus individual redemption. Yeah, and that's why the rabbi suggested that you need to ask forgiveness every day before you die. So then the question was, how do I know when I'm going to die? That's why you have to ask forgiveness every day, because you never know when. Yeah, so this is a personal redemption, definitely. How are we doing with this? How many of us are righteous? No, just kidding. Yeah, I mean, every day, it's really an interesting way of going to sleep at night and going through the day that one has experienced, and then finding out how the day worked, if it worked. I mean, it's not only the relationship between us and God that God is concerned about. God is more concerned about the relationship we have with each other. God is large enough, compassionate enough, loving enough to forgive us the transgressions that we commit against God. It doesn't work in relationship with each other. And that's why, for example, the Ten Commandments, and forget about the tablets and the shape from Charlton Heston. The Ten Commandments are fascinating in investigating the first 5 and the last 5. Because the first 4 are commandments in relationship to God, the individual of God. The last 5 are commandments that deal with relationship between people. There is one link in between that makes sense that is put as number 5. What is number 5?
Father and mother.
Honor your father and mother. And by the way, at one place in the Torah it says father and mother, and there are 2 places. The other one brings the mother first. I love this. It's almost like the writers of the Bible. That's okay? No one fainted yet when I say it? Okay. The writers of the Bible actually wanted to make sure that we don't repeat the mistake of Rebekah and Jacob and how they loved one child more than the other. So the children are supposed to love and honor their father and mother. Of course, the commandment doesn't say what honor means. That's why we have the Talmud. So one commandment, one line that says honor your father and mother, but then go figure out what it means. What is the meaning of honoring father and mother? How far away should the child go in honoring father and mother? Should the child sacrifice his life for the sake of the mother or father? So you have a whole tractate in the Talmud that deals with the obligation and the responsibilities of children for their parents. And by the way, another tractate that talks about what are the responsibilities of parents to children. There's no honor your child as part of the commandments. But there's definitely a development of that concept in Talmudic time. Okay. Any other redemption ideas? So we talked about personal redemption and religious redemption on the part of nation or people. Anything else? I'm not hearing about the Messiah. That's because you guys gave up on waiting? Yeah, so Jews have both a messianic appearance. For us will be, of course, the first time. And then we're going to ask if that was the first time. And also messianic time. And you'll see today that the Messiah in Judaism is not only coming from the seed of King David, but it's also coming from the seed of Joseph. So the Messiah will be identified in the text that you're going to be aware in a few minutes as a child of Ephraim. So it's called the Messiah from the root of Ephraim. And Ephraim and Manasseh were the children of who? Of Joseph. So you have this two-pronged idea of a Messiah coming from David, but also coming from Joseph. And it is possible that the idea for the Messiah from the seed of Joseph came as a result of the polemics with Christianity. It is possible that there was a time when the idea of David, definitely in Judaism in biblical time, it starts with David, but then there is a switch in the theology. And it is possible it's exactly after the destruction of the Second Temple where Christianity start appearing on the scene, and the David-Isaiah connection was really clear in Christianity. And there is the beginning then in Jewish theology of suggesting that maybe the Messiah from David is already taken in a way, and there's a lot of emphasis on that. And maybe we should look at Joseph as a prototype of the Messiah. Why Joseph? Why is it going to be easy to go to Joseph? What is redemption, or what are the redeeming features of Joseph in the Bible?
He forgives.
He forgives. Go on.
He lives under oppression, but manages it.
And he is sustaining the whole world.
And yes, and it's
Without Joseph storing all the food of Egypt, the world will be destroyed. He was providing the food for the world, similar to some of the qualities that a Messiah has, being able to make sure that the world survives. So the Joseph piece and the David piece are side by side in Jewish theology as personal Messiah. Liberal Judaism maybe got tired of waiting for the Messiah, which is not a bad idea. What are we doing until the Messiah comes? When she comes, what are we going to do? So liberal Judaism, including conservative Judaism, has a conversation about Messianic time. And Messianic time comes actually from the prophetic Judaism, the books of the prophets, because there's constant demand on the part of the nation to improve their behavior, to help to understand the partnership with God. So liberal Judaism is really telling us that we need to roll our sleeves and get busy in creating Messianic time, in moving the Messianic time a little bit closer. Yes?
I saw a book titled, There Is No Messiah and You Are It.
Yeah. So there is a piece of, we are all created in God's image, and God's image is definitely in the Messiah. It is possible, it's not only possible, I really believe that every one of us has in their capacity to bring redemption. Maybe not to the whole world. I know you're disappointed because that's what you wanted to do. But maybe to just the corner of where we are. And I think this is a burden on all of us. It's not just the yoke that is on the shoulder of the Messiah. It's a burden on all of us. How do we, in a way, fulfill this messianic hope of bringing those days closer to our lives? It's a hard task. I don't see any reaction. Come on, challenge me. How many of you can accept the notion that a seed of the Messiah is in you? Yeah, beautiful. That doesn't mean that you need to give up on the second coming. I think those kind of fulfillments can work side by side in case he's delayed. And he has been delayed. And that's why it's so dangerous, those cults that appear every time. Remember what happened in the year 2000, before the year 2000? There was a clear understanding that that will be the day when the Messiah comes. And we had all kind of strange groups appearing. People that gave up all their properties because they don't need anything now. The Messiah is coming in the year 2000. There was also a fear of losing all the computers. Oh my God. It was computers and Messiah at the same time. Who needs a computer if the Messiah comes? But there are groups all over the world that are calculating every day when that date will be. So one can be completely frozen in those speculations, or one can continue doing good deeds and forget about it. And if the Messiah comes, okay, I'm ready. We should all be ready for that moment. Jewish teaching suggests that if you are planting a tree and someone comes and taps you on the shoulder and says the Messiah came, you should continue finishing planting the tree and only then go welcome the Messiah. So there is this, on one hand, they believe that we are auto the Messiah comes. On the other hand, there's a complete understanding of reality that it is possible that he will not come. How do you live in this dualistic notion? Waiting every moment for the Messiah to come, but then working every moment as if he is not coming. And the responsibility is on you. Okay, enough talking. Text. So now, how would you know when the Messiah comes? The footsteps, the footprints of the Messiah. Who would like number 23? Oh, by now, you already know that I'm going to ask you to read. Come on. Yes, please, loud.
Rabbi Yohanan said, "When you see a generation ever dwindling, expect the Messiah then. For Scripture says, the afflicted people thou wilt save."
Okay, Samuel 2nd, you have the verse proof. So when the people are afflicted, thou will save. Okay, so the generation has to dwindle, gone. But that's only one opinion of one rabbi. Now comes Rabbi Yochanan, the same rabbi with a different opinion.
Rabbi Yohanan also said, "When you see a generation that is overwhelmed by many troubles, as by a river in flood, expect the Messiah then."
And the proof text?
Isaiah 59.
Oh yeah, read a verse.
Oh, for Scripture says, "When the enemy shall come in like a river, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him."
From Isaiah, go on.
And then Scripture goes on to say, "The Redeemer shall come to Zion."
Okay. So again, in troubled times. Go on, continue. Rabbi Yochanan.
Said further, Messiah, son of David, will come only in a generation that is altogether righteous or altogether wicked. In a generation altogether righteous, for it is said, "Thy people shall be all righteous, they shall inherit the land forever."
Yeah, again from Isaiah. And I imagine now in your mind, you heard enough sermons on the book of Isaiah and the relationship. So those verses are known to you. Okay? And again, they're used as a proof text. So the land will be redeemed when everyone is righteous. Continue.
Or altogether wicked, for it is written, "And he saw that there was no man, and was astonished that there was no intercessor," etc.
Okay, no man means what? No one righteous.
Right.
Similar to the language of the story of Noah. A righteous person in his generation. That's why he was selected. In his generation, he was a little bit better than the rest of the evil people. But he wasn't a great Messiah. There was nothing great about Noah. But, on the average, above average. Continue.
And elsewhere it is written, "Then for mine own sake will I do it."
Wow, in Isaiah. So God will bring the Messiah for God's sake. He doesn't, if they're righteous or evil, that's not God's problem. The Messiah will come when God wants the Messiah to come. For God's sake, not for our sake. So in a way, it doesn't always depend on the way we're going to behave. But this, you see now, Rabbi Yochanan spent a lot of time thinking about a Messiah and spent a lot of time looking at the book of Isaiah. And so the proof texts are coming from the book to defend his positions. And it is possible for one rabbi to have 60,000 opinions. Don't be surprised. They don't do flower shows. They don't go and kiss babies when they are born. The only thing they do is study. They don't worry about invocation, benedictions. They study in the yeshiva. So they have a lot of time to contemplate the lives and the words of the Torah. Okay, let's continue. Let's do 25 now. Who would like to read 25?
Rabbi Elazar bar Avina said, when you see the great kingdoms fight one another, look for the footprints of the Messiah.
Yeah, so this is more a disastrous kind of prediction. When you see everyone is fighting, you can see already the beginning of the footprints of the Messiah. So this is part of the sons of light against the sons of darkness. We have some of those eschatological predictions of when the Messiah will come, when the world is destroyed. Okay, big deal. I need to wait for that now. I mean, hopefully we'll try to avoid those kind of things of happening. One more.
Rabbi Simlai said in the name of Rabbi Elazar, son of Rabbi Simeon, Messiah, son of David, will not come until all judges and officers are gone from Israel.
Basically, when the bureaucracy will die. When all we don't need judges then. A Messiah will be coming to a world where judgment is not needed. People are going to be, good and righteous, and so when all of those judges will be gone. 27, 28 is really one unit. You're doing a great job. Continue.
Rabbi Isaiah said, Messiah, son of David, will not come until all souls in the treasury of souls have been used up, as is said. The spirit that is before me will enwrap mankind when all souls I made have been used up. Isaiah 50.
And then continue with 28.
The sages said, King Messiah will not come until all souls that have been considered for creation have been created. And these are the souls referred to in the book of Adam.
Yeah, the book of Adam, that book exists actually, and it's part of the Apocrypha, and both Christianity and Judaism rejected it. They kept it there, because it is a bizarre book. But it exists, the book of Adam, which deals with a lot more details about what happened there in the beginning. A whole book written about Adam and Eve, and the Lilith, and all kind of other evil spirits. It's there in the Apocrypha. It's something that really is interesting to read, but one can understand the difficulty of including that book in the canons, both in the Jewish and the Christian canon. There was a reason why those books were rejected. What do you think is the reason? Some of the reasons that a book like the book of the story of Adam was rejected.
Because it doesn't fit with the other books that were chosen.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Because it's, first of all, you don't know who wrote it. You don't know if the main theology of the New Testament or the Old Testament, and the purpose why those books are put in the order they are put, will complement that book. And then it can lead you to some esoteric beliefs and convictions that are going to make you maybe, what? Leave the religion that you were in. Remember now, the books that were rejected politically. They didn't work in the scheme of what the books that were included wanted to offer, or wanted to direct you, or wanted to create what kind of a religious character those other books were supposed to do with us. But it's there. So what do you So there will be a time when there will be no more souls. I mean, it's an interesting idea. They actually believe that God is sitting underneath the throne of God. There was a vision that there's like a big suitcase. And all the souls that will ever be created are there. And they actually imagine that there will be one day that there will be no more souls to be created. This is their belief. Unlimited souls. What an interesting idea. Who knows when? You know, that's how they believed in. Okay, go to the next page. More of the footprints of the Messiah. Again, we see Rabbi Yochanan. So Rabbi Yochanan dedicated his rabbinate to spend a lot of time with proof text, trying to find from the Torah and from the Bible, the Jewish Bible, signs for the Messiah. Why would a rabbi preoccupy his time with this? What do we know about the conditions of the life of the Jews during the time of Rav Yochanan?
Well, when were they?
No, I mean that was at the end of after the destruction. So we have him in the 1st, 2nd century influence. CE, Common Era.
Yeah.
So why would people be involved in trying to find footprints of the Messiah?
Because they thought they had been abandoned.
Yeah, totally. Because their life was miserable. Because they were hungry, and there were always enemies around. They lost their independence. The year 70 was tragic because that was the end of the monarchy for Israel.
Were they losing a lot of people to the growing Christianity?
Christianity was not as active so early after the destruction of the temple. But we talked about, I gave you a little bit of the vacuum that was created in the period of about 200 years after the temple was destroyed. So there's definitely competition on souls. There was definitely, come to my camp. By the way, it's still happening. Nothing changed. Nothing changed, which is fine. Just let's have a dialogue. You'll tell me about your religion, I'll tell about my religion, and then let's have coffee and go to our happy lives. They're still out there on the streets, and it doesn't matter what city, fight over souls. And people who cannot understand or accept any other religion. And so they try with all kind of ways to diminish other religions. So nothing really changed. People that are in religious life still from time to time do things that remind us of what was done in the past. And I think this opportunity, for example, for you, need to be also reciprocated by the clergy of Temple Israel that will invite your clergy to come and do exactly the same. And then when the mosque is built, this is what we need to do. This is the idea beyond just tri-faith. Tri-faith is an easy slogan. The issue is what will happen as a result of inside of it. So here are more marks. Rabbi Yochanan, who would like to read? 30.
Rabbi Yochanan said, "In the generation in which Messiah, son of David, comes, disciples of the wise will grow fewer and fewer. And for those who remain, their eyes will be consumed with sorrow and sighing. And many agonies will afflict the entire people. Harsh decrees added one to another, so that while one is still in force, Another is quickly promulgated.
Yeah, so it's not going to be pleasant. Do you still want the Messiah to come? I mean, who would like to go through this kind of a period? But this is, so again, the idea of the Messiah comes when it's really going to be bad. Have we reached this period yet? Maybe we're getting closer, but we're not there yet. All right, continue with the next paragraph.
Our masters taught as follows of the particular 7-year period, at whose end Messiah, son of David, will appear.
Okay, so now they're going to tell you, so there'll be a process of 7 years. You're going to hear now what will happen every year, and then at the end of the 7 years, the Messiah will come. Again, 7 years comes from where? 7. Why 7?
7 days of creation.
7 day of creation. What else? Joseph. What were the dreams?
7 lean cows and
7 lean cows, and then the sheaves. 7. Yeah. So I mean, again, the Joseph piece. Although it says David in this paragraph, again, the symbolic of the 7. Okay. Now let's hear the menu for those 7 years, and then tell me if you're still waiting for the Messiah after that.
In the first year there will be fulfilled the verse, and I will cause it to rain upon one city, and cause it not to rain upon another city.
Okay, go on. 2nd year.
The 2nd year, arrows of famine will be launched. The
3rd year.
The 3rd year, there will be a universal famine. Men, women, little children, and men of piety and good deeds will die, and because of hunger, the Torah will be forgotten by those who study it. The 4th year, there will be a scarcity of one thing and a surplus of another. The 5th year, there will be a great plenty. People will eat and drink and rejoice, and the Torah will return to those who study it. During the 6th year, there will be rumors of war, and during the 7th, wars. And with the departure of the 7th, Messiah, son of David, will appear.
We're still waiting, huh? Okay. So definitely those signs are not here yet. And I don't know, I mean, it's an interesting, do they actually think that this will happen? Or maybe they just had too much time to talk about things that are strange. But this is the world that they lived in. That's how they envisioned the hard stages that will lead for the coming of the Messiah. So after a complete chaos in the world, basically, even if the 5th year will be better because of plenty, it's going to be important for some kind of an appearance, mystical, apocalyptic appearance of the Messiah to be able to bring the world back to the right path. Yes?
Okay, I'm reading all this stuff here, and they're talking about what was happening then, but you look at these things, and all things are happening now. These things are still happening. And
So, yeah. So every group of study has one person that can make us depressed now.
Well, I was thinking the same thing.
Or 2 people that are going to depress us.
I don't want to depress you because maybe it's a good sign. Maybe it's a sign.
Okay, but it's not that. I think they envision a totality of war. I mean,
The entire world.
the entire world. Yeah, they didn't talk about Omaha. I don't think they thought about Omaha when they were talking about.
Omaha.
No, I know. They were talking about worldwide
But they were talking about
catastrophe.
their world. They didn't know about the rest of the world.
All they knew about the
They
rest
knew
of the
about all of this over here on the other side of the globe.
or they, maybe not about America, but definitely they knew there is more than just Zion. Oh, for sure. Because there were merchants and they traveled. You'll be surprised some of the stories and some of the evidence of how much they traveled. Maybe not in a fancy cruises, but they still knew that the world exists. Not all of the world, but but it doesn't matter. I mean, even their world is going to be chaotic.
That's what's going on in their world right now,
In what world?
in the Middle East, where there's so much disruption and turmoil.
Oh, but
Could it be
the
said
Middle
that-
East at this moment I mean, there were periods of the Middle East that were even more disastrous than what's happening now. Yeah, so one can make a connection between Dash and those predictions. I mean, you can work it out. Yeah. I don't know, my DNA is so optimistic. I don't know where I got it. I got it from my mother. Definitely not my father. And
Yeah, I read that Stephen Hawking said that the Earth will be depleted in 1,000 years and we'll have to populate other planets.
yeah, and Stephen will not be alive by then. And so what are we going to do when it doesn't happen? I mean, this is some of the difficulty of people who are spending too much time. Yeah. Are we okay? I mean, okay, so how many of us are going to be unhappy the rest of the day as a result of this prediction? The question is, how do we prevent this? That's why I love this theology of being co-partnered with God in the unfolding story of creation. Creation is happening every day, and so what is our responsibility? We constantly need to think about what we do to bring relief to all those places and all those people that are suffering.
Does the concept revealed through Isaiah and other prophets about the coming Messiah, is that similar to the book of Revelation?
No,
Okay.
no. There are some similarities, but it's a completely different style of writing.
Okay.
And different predictions. More horrible, I think. Yeah, so it's not only Isaiah, it's Zechariah, and it's Amos. I mean, you have a lot of wonderful images are in the minor prophets. So we have 12 minor prophets that have predictions about the world to come. And most of them are pretty positive and happy. Because happiness is what their people needed at that time. By the way, how is this different than promises that were made to us by the candidates for the election? I mean, which we know many of them will not really come to fruition. But it's okay. We feel good when we hear it. And then we actually vote for whatever we vote. How many of us got disappointed election after election? Yeah, okay. So there are some similar predictions in the book of Revelation, but it's not so horrific in other parts of the Jewish Bible. But we have some of them. Okay, so let's continue. Please, let's continue with, we finished 31. Let's number 31.
At the approaching of the Messiah, insolence will increase and honor will be held in contempt. The vine will yield abundant fruit, but wine will be costly, and there will be none to reprove. The chamber where scholars meet for study will be used for harlotry. Galilee will be laid waste. The Galilean region will be made desolate. The men of the border region will go about from town to town and find no pity. The wisdom of scribes will be deemed a stench. Those who fear sin will be despised, and truth will be lacked. The face of the generation will be brazen like the face of a dog. The young will cause the faces of the elders to grow pale with humiliation, and the great will wait upon those of little worth. A son will revile his father, and a daughter will rise up against her mother, a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies will be the inmates of his own house, Micah 7:6. A son will feel no shame before his father. Upon whom then can we rely? Upon the Father in heaven.
Yeah. depressing, isn't it? But it's not happening yet. Okay, so the mother-in-law is a serious issue here. Yeah. It tells you a little bit about how they see the opposite of their lives. Gives you a feeling of what they are concerned or what are some of the issues. Pretty much similar. The ceasing of study Torah was huge for those rabbis. I mean, there will be no scholarship anymore. I mean, people are going to be ignorant. That's what they're worried about in the years that precede the coming of the Messiah. Okay. Go to the middle of 32, the last few lines, which is fascinating. Some rabbis actually wanted to give more examples of footprints of the Messiah. So who would like to read from whenever Rabbi Zerah? Just
Whenever Rabbi Zerah found sages engaged in calculating the time of the Messiah.
so it's not something that's just happening now. They always were calculating the times of the Messiah. Maybe this was a hobby. Instead of bingo, they didn't know bingo. That's what they did. Calculating the time of the Messiah. Go on.
So Rabbi Zerah would say to them, I beg of you, do not put it off further off, for we have been taught that 3 come without warning, Messiah, something found, and a scorpion.
3 things that come without warning. I love it. So the rabbi is urging them to calculate the time so it will be early, but he also is aware that you can never predict the time of the Messiah coming. Okay, 33, please. Anyone?
Eula said, let the Messiah come, but let me not see him. Rabbah said likewise, let him come, but let me not see him.
Wow. Let the Messiah come, but I don't want to see it. Of course, it requires explanation. So it will continue. Please continue.
Rabbi Joseph, on the other hand, said, let him come, and may I be worthy of sitting in the shadow of the saddle of his ass.
Wow. This is a rabbi that has a different opinion. He actually just wants to sit in the shadow of the saddle. So he is willing to be there. He wants to see the Messiah. The other 2 said no. Now comes a little bit of a conversation about this. Please. Abaye. Yeah.
Abaye said, Abaye asked Rabbah, what is your reason for not wishing to see him? Should you say, because of the birth pangs preceding the Messiah's coming, have we not been taught? Rabbi Elazar's disciples asked him, what should one do to be spared the pangs of the Messiah? He answered, let him engage in study of Torah and in good deeds. And you, Master, in you are Torah and good deeds. Rabbi replied, still sin may bring on suffering.
Okay. What can happen if there is this calculation of when the Messiah comes? What can happen to personal responsibility? Why would I have to be engaged in good deeds if my engagement in doing good deeds will not be the reason for the Messiah comes? If we have a Messiah, what then are we responsible for? Actually, who needs Messiah to come? The coming of the Messiah is going to lead to abdication of my responsibility to be part of God's creation. What is the role of humanity if the Messiah comes?
And we see that in...
A what?
I said we see that in fundamentalist Christianity today. Don't worry about the environment because it's all, the apocalypse is coming.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
abdicate.
What is our responsibility? And therefore, those rabbis that don't want to see him, that's what they're worried about. I don't want to see him coming. Not only see him that day, I don't want to see him coming. Because then the foundation of what we created there, the foundation of all religions, is going to be what?
Negated.
Recreated by the Messiah, hopefully, or not existing. And then what is then the role of humanity in this kind of a world?
We're irrelevant.
A what?
We are irrelevant.
Beautiful. Why would God need us?
His job is done.
Remember how much grief God received from the angels about creating us. That's why I started with creation. They didn't want us to exist, the angels. How much more so if a Messiah comes, and what happens to everything we build, expecting him to come? Now, I don't want to agonize anyone here. This is just one approach. What will be our role as human beings if he's here, or she is here? I don't know why I like she. That can be interesting.
So what is it supposed to be like, making humans irrelevant? What is it supposed to be like? Is it just supposed to be a physical world with no humans, no,
No. I mean, so, for example, Chris, you're here, thank you. What will happen when the Messiah comes in Christianity?
Well, you're all Christians, what does happen when the Messiah is here?
Eternal life.
I cannot believe that's what she did. Wow. Oh, she's a great teacher, so.
Isn't the whole,
This is like a Jewish response.
Christians in the midst of the Messiah having already come is to learn from the Messiah how the Messiah lives and acts and teaches and forgives and loves in the world as you like us.
Yeah, so it'll be a role model in our midst. And we'll have, yeah. And everyone will agree with everything the Messiah does. Yeah. Cheerfully, yeah.
Teacher, I regard it as, I gave you homework, let's see it.
You gave homework to the Messiah.
I gave you homework, the Messiah would say.
Yeah.
Let's see it. What did you do? I gave you this world to live in. I gave you your homework.
So what will be your personal response to?
Yeah. So what did you do?
So what is your answer?
Let's see it.
What?
Show me what you did.
No. So what will be your individual answer to him?
That's what I mean, you know?
You messed up.
He wants to know what we did with what he gave us when he comes. What did we do?
But the Messiah, who is so close to God, already knows everything we have done.
But even though I know what you've done, I'm still going to ask you.
Aha. No. So now, can you tell me now what will be your...
We have to know what we did, yes.
Beautiful. So you're going to elaborate on what you have done in the last so many years of
I'm
you.
going to have to search it myself.
Beautiful.
Soul searching time.
Beautiful. I mean, to be able to have an answer for that question, I love it.
So what is the purpose of the Messiah coming?
You're asking me as a Jew? I
Or Christians, and what I'm hearing said, why is he coming?
haven't we always been taught that the whole thing is eternal life?
I've always thought, and I obviously don't know,
No, you know, that's why you're asking. It's perfect. It's okay. Well,
that he was going to come and everything was going to be the lamb lying down with the lion and
Yeah.
everything being wonderful. And that's the opposite of what I'm even hearing Chris say. I don't.
no, it's not the opposite. It's not the opposite. But there will be, we are going to be called for judgment.
Okay.
I mean, I think the answer is show me your homework. It's beautiful.
But he's going to judge us, and if he has a negative response, will he have a negative response to what we tell him? Because
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, what kind of an answer you want me to give you now?
the ones I'm getting.
No. So here's one answer that is absolutely accepted in your religion, which is what?
Eternal life.
Eternal life, which means what? Aha. Living forever? Are you kidding? There'll be a gift that the Messiah will give me? You're so disappointed. I don't know what.
I just told her, I said, you're making me think.
Well, I'm sorry. I think that's my job. I mean, that's a teacher in me. I mean, we can go back to a text, but again, the text, what would be the text that you're going to write in honoring the Messiah when he comes? What I'm saying is that I'm giving you texts of people that live in a different period of time, and their imagination and their hopes, their fears, their dreams, their pain. We will need to create a new Torah in a way, a new scripture that will accompany the coming of the Messiah. What are we going to write? What is the love letter that is going to be created by us upon his coming? Because the Torah, the Bible for me, or the 5 books of Moses, it's a love letter that the Jewish people wrote to God. That's how I explain the Torah. What will be the love letter that we're going to write when those kind of changes will happen? By the way, are we going to survive those 7 years before? Yes.
One thing in the writings of the Gospels is that Jesus repeatedly says, the kingdom of heaven is at hand, or the kingdom of heaven is near. And so one thought would be that when he left and he said the Holy Spirit will be here to guide you, that the kingdom of heaven indeed was near because it is here, and that therefore our goal in life is to try to help maintain the kingdom as God would have us maintain it.
Beautiful. That's our job. It's a full-time job. Yeah.
I'm having a little trouble with the judgment rules thing. And
Well,
I think about it in terms of my marriage, let's say. And I do things or I don't do things because I love my husband, not because I think he's going to punish me if I...
You're lucky.
Don't we do what God asks us to do?
But there is a day of judgment, both in Judaism and in Christianity. It's upon our death. There is a judgment there. I mean, we can remove judgment from... In Islam, too, there is a judgment. By the way, there is a book about 5 questions that God is going to ask us on that day. So there are 5 questions. Get ready. Write them down. Because you better have the right answers. One is, did you really enjoy the world I put in front of you? Wow. If we come there and say, no, wow, what a disappointment. He will send us back. And there's a limit to how many times we can come back. The second question will be, did you do your business affairs righteously? It's about the ethics of our actions in a marketplace.
Just in the marketplace, or
In your life, ethics.
in life?
There'll be a question about sexual ethics, which will be question number 3. There'll be a question about the environment, about how did we help continue the creation story of the world? And there's one other question I forgot at this moment, which will force me to go and find out the question and give it to you next time. And we better be prepared for those questions. But there is a judgment in all religions. Yes?
So do you believe in hell? Is there going to be some kind of punishment?
Okay, so hell is a whole different presentation. I have a very limited view of what is important in the world to come. And I know it's not going to satisfy everyone, but if my goal is to leave a good name, that's it. I'm not really concerned so much about what will happen and in what dimension of world I will be. I think the purpose of this life for me is when I'm dead and my name comes up, there will be a smile. That's it. I'm so happy with this. Okay, I have a minor opinion, which is there is a Jewish teaching that says, in the world to come, you're going to be invited to the biggest possible school in the world, and all the prophets of all the religions are going to be teaching. So the only reason to be good in this world is not to get the abstracted seats. So if you want to get close to the table of the master teachers, you better be good. I'm okay with that. I don't need to have a sword above my head that will threaten me about my life and what I need to do. I'm okay with this. I don't need to have fear in order to do the right thing. I can do it from love. No one needs to threaten me. So hell is a dimension that exists in Judaism, but in a very, very different kind of view than the way I sometimes being engaged in discussions. I mean, hell is the world that you can create for yourself on earth. It doesn't have to be a geographical location, although there are references to a geographical valley, and I think I mentioned it before, or one of the bar sessions. A Muslim, yeah. There was a discussion about that, and there is a gay beninnom. In Hebrew, the word for hell is gay enom. Gehenom is the valley of the Hinnom, which is next to Jerusalem, and I think Eric expanded during that session about that. And there was a place where it used to be a location for sacrificing humans. And so that serves in the mind as hell. I will leave it here. Chris, you want to ask again everyone what they think about hell? Or are you going to offer a teaching here?
Well, the idea of judgment, I think, has been hijacked in a way that it's a bad thing, instead of being a way that we hold each other accountable to the rule of love. And if we're not acting in love, then what are we?
Totally.
Right.
And so hell in the philosophy of this church?
Hell is, in the philosophy of this church, is that wasted life.
Totally.
That trash heap where everything lands if you don't take advantage of the creation God's put in front of you.
Beautiful. And the same idea of the departure from paradise. I want to make sure that you look at the Hebrew word. It says they left east of Eden. Paradise is maybe 3 steps from where we left. We just sometimes put geographical mileage into that, and it seems so far away. In Hebrew, it says east of Eden. Not thousands of miles, not down there, not up there, just east of Eden. That's it. It's so easy to get back there. It's so easy. It doesn't require a lot of energy. You don't have to get a canteen full of water to get there. It's just the actions of our lives is what will bring us back to whatever that Eden was. Okay, we're still okay. Go now to the end, 35, number 35. Until now, we are dealing only with the steps that will tell us the Messiah is coming. Here's the last one, Joshua ben Levi. Please.
Rabbi Joshua ben Levi cited two verses that seem mutually contradictory.
That's what they love to do. They constantly love to do contradictory verses in the Bible because it gives them a chance to do what?
Debate.
To write commentary, to say something meaningful about it. Go on.
One verse says, "And behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven."
Of course, the book of Daniel, another book that I cannot force my Jews to study. It's book of Daniel. It's so bizarre for Jews to learn. I don't know why. Because maybe it's too visionary, too out of the line of the other books. Go on.
While the other says, "Behold, thy king cometh unto thee, lowly and riding upon an ass."
It's the book of Zechariah, okay? Go on. So there are two verses. So what is the problem of those verses next to each other?
Well, one sounds like he comes like a lord, and the other one sounds like he comes like someone.
Yeah, I mean, one comes from the clouds, the other one is on an ass. I mean, come on, it's not respectful. Go on.
However, the two verses declare, if Israel are meritorious, Messiah will come with the clouds of heaven. If not, he will be lowly and riding upon an ass.
Oh, I love this. So again, it's not about a Messiah that they're dealing, it's about how you're behaving. If they are going to be, the blessing to Abraham was, may your descendants be like the stars of heaven and like the grain of sand. It's interesting images. It's up to us to be lofty as stars in heaven, but also we need to realize that sometimes we can be like what? The grain of sand that everyone can step on us. This is the difficulty. The difficulty is the gap in the creation that we create or recreate ourselves. We can be as high as the stars in heaven, but we can be as lowly as the grain of sand on the shore. It's the choices in our hands. We need to decide who we can become. Okay, and then then comes something from finish the last 3 lines.
King Shapur said to Samuel, "You say that the Messiah will come riding upon an ass. I would like to send him a brightly colored steed of mine." Samuel replied, "Do you have 1,000 hued steeds?"
It's an interesting respond. You cannot really envision the Messiah's ass, and if you can, it will require a lot of saddles. Again, now comes the Messiah himself. Look at the 56. Until now we talked about the footprints. Now we are going to go into the Messiah. Go on. 56, please.
"In thy light do we see light?
From the book of Psalms. Go on.
What light is it that the congregation of Israel looks for as from a watchtower? It is the light of the Messiah, of which it is said, 'And God saw the light, that it was good.'" This verse proves that the Holy One foresaw the generation of the Messiah and his works before the world was created, and then stored it away under his throne of glory, for Messiah until the time of the generation in which he is to appear.
Okay, so what are we learning from this paragraph? So even before the world was created, God already put in process the appearance of the Messiah. Okay, so relax now, everyone. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's there. Now comes Satan again in Midrashic literature. Why would Satan appear at this moment? What is the role of Satan? To prevent the Messiah of what? Coming. I think Satan will be unemployed if the Messiah comes. I think he's worried about employment for the future. Because the evil inclination, or Satan, the way you want to look at it, will not be used anymore. Everyone is going to be righteous. It will be a perfect world. No one will need Satan, and no one will have evil inclination. Okay? So now he comes into the dialogue. Go on.
Satan asked the Holy One, Master of the universe, for whom is the light that is stored away under your throne of glory? God replied, for him who will turn you back and put you to other things.
Okay. A little dialogue between God and Satan. They constantly are talking. The fact that we are not hearing it, that's our problem. But there's constant conversation, which tells you what about Satan in Jewish tradition? He's one of the angels. He's there to, I think, to entertain God. I mean, God needs some humor there. And so from time to time, he's challenging God. But that's his capacity. He's not a power over God ever in Jewish tradition. He is always kept in check. Go on.
Satan said, Master of the universe, show him to me.
Oh, let me see. I want to see this Messiah. I want to know who my enemy will be. Go on.
God replied, come and see him. Now, the moment he saw him, Satan was shaken. He fell down upon his face and said, surely this is the Messiah, who will cast into Gehenna both me and all the heavenly counterparts of the princes of the earthly nations. Of the earth's nations, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, he already knows the Messiah will come. He doesn't have a choice. Go on, continue.
In that hour, all the princely counterparts of the nations, greatly agitated, will say to him, Master of the universe, who is this whose power we are to fall into? What is his name? What kind of being is he? The Holy One will reply, his name is Ephraim, my true Messiah.
Or in Hebrew, Ephraim.
Ephraim.
Yeah.
Who will elevate his own stature and the stature of his generation, and who will light up the eyes of Israel and deliver his people. And no nation or tongue will be able to withstand him. And all his enemies and adversaries shall be overawed and flee from him. And even rivers will yield to the power of his right hand and stop flowing.
Wow. That's what he's going to do.
Why would he want the rivers to stop flowing?
To impress all of us. I mean, it's a very good question. So a physical change will take place to make sure that you realize that he has the power to do it. It will be for our amusement. I mean, to know that he has a power. Well, it doesn't say that, it doesn't mean that they will always flow backward. But there will be some kind of a nature, a miracle in nature that you're going to witness.
I hope it doesn't last too long, because flowing rivers are part of the natural world that are necessary.
Yeah, but how? But this is an interesting point. God is totally aware of our inability to witness miracles, and always challenging the miracles in our lives. But there will be a miracle, physical miracle. How else are we going to believe? We are people of such little belief and faith that we need to have something performed of hocus pocus circus kind of a miracle for us to say, oh, wow. We don't see the miracles that are happening in our daily life. We are so not present sometimes in the life around us. When the Messiah comes, God is going to provide this kind of a major event that will convince us that this is the Messiah. Okay, go on. Please.
At the time of the King Messiah's creation, the Holy One will tell him in detail what will befall him. These souls that have been put away with you, their sins will put you in a yoke of iron and make you like a calf whose eyes grow dim with suffering.
So the Messiah will carry, by the way, now you know, now you understand the Jesus piece. The Messiah that will come will carry all the yoke, all the sins of the individuals. So this is a Jewish writing that was available for the writers of the Gospels. They already knew this teaching in Judaism. So this material that I'm bringing here is helpful in understanding where the notions that appear in the New Testament come from. Go on, continue.
They will strangle your breath with the yoke, and because of the sins of these souls, your tongue will cleave to the roof of your mouth. Are you willing to endure such trials?
So God created the Messiah. He's there already in the creation story, having a dialogue. Are you going to be able to endure this yoke, this burden? What is the Messiah saying?
The Messiah will ask the Holy One, Master of the universe, will my suffering last many years?
Oh my God. What a great question for the Messiah to ask. How long I'm going to suffer this yoke of the people? By the way, this is for us. Why would we want to put yoke of our transgressions on the Messiah? So this is a teaching about how we need to behave. Why would we put this kind of a burden on the Messiah? Go on.
The Holy One will reply, upon your life and the life of my head, I have decreed for you a period of 7 years.
Again, 7 years.
But if your soul is saddened by the prospect of your suffering, I shall at this moment banish these sinful souls.
Wow.
The Messiah will say, Master of universes, I take this suffering upon myself with joy in my soul and gladness in my heart, so that not one person in Israel may perish, that not only those who are alive may be saved in my days, but also those who are buried in the earth, not only those who died in my days, but also those who died ever since the days of Adam up to the time of redemption. And that not only these may be saved in my days, but also those who died as abortions. And that not only abortions, but all those, the thought of whose creation came to your mind, but who were not created. Such are the things I desire, and for these I am ready to take upon myself whatever you decree.
Wow.
That's heavy.
Of course it's heavy. Yeah. Who wrote this? This is a collection of different rabbis.
Okay, so I'm just asking when your rabbis mentioned this, what I wondered.
The word abortion in Hebrew is apala. So the word appears in the Hebrew text. So this is translation from Hebrew. So what is?
Okay, so this is just a whole bunch of different rabbis. This is kind of the accepted.
This is an attempt to teach about the Messiah from Jewish textual material coming from Midrashic material. So Midrash is not obligatory like the same level of the Torah, of the 5 books of Moses. Yes, so what?
Well, I was seeing other rabbis give them credit for what they.
Yeah, this is a later, after the year 70 CE, the need for a Messiah definitely increased the number of citation in Jewish text. I mean, there was almost like an obsession about changing our lives. It was a complete chaos in those days, and so there is more writing about the Messiah, in a way trying to offer comfort to the people. So this is material that was accumulated for 500 years, put together here, without giving the, you can find who said it in a Talmudic text. But so this is an attempt to put all of this together without giving the right quotation of who said what. All right, go on.
I'll read one more paragraph, Rabbi, and then unfortunately I have to leave.
It's okay. We'll end with that. Go on.
Okay. The sages said, during the 7-year period preceding the coming of Messiah, son of David, iron beams will be brought and loaded upon the Messiah, son of Joseph's, neck, until his body is bent low. Then he will cry.
Is this reminding you something?
Yes.
Okay.
Then he will cry and weep. His voice will rise up to heaven, and he will say to God, Master of the universe, how much can my strength endure? How much can my spirit endure? How much my breath before it ceases? How much can my limbs suffer? Am I not flesh and blood?
Okay. Amazing imagination on the part of the sages. What do you think is going on here? Yeah.
But didn't they write this after Jesus was on earth and was crucified, and the Christians had all their writings? Wasn't this written?
Some of the material here is after. Some of the material is before. It's put together there. It's hard to identify what was written when, but definitely the desire to have a character like this appearing on the theological scene at that time is clear. Their life was ruined. There was a need to provide some comfort, some salvation, some redemption. And so this is how they saw things. The people that wrote the gospel, the first gospel was written about 75 years after the death of Jesus. So it is possible some of this was written because there was then the need to create that kind of scenery in order to bring Christianity and to make it more popular. I mean, so who knows what exactly, the chicken or the egg, what was there before? The only thing I wanted to say is, please continue on your own reading the rest. Pay attention to the page, the 396, the right column, the one we did not get. But you will see all the material, and it's coming from, it's a lot of material put together because they just wanted to make sure that it's under one category. I think it will be nice to read, as if to finish this, the poetry, the prayer on the top of the next page, page 397. Let's do it together. I think it's powerful. Blessed is the hour in which he was created. Blessed is the womb whence he came. Blessed is the generation whose eyes behold him. Blessed is the eye that waits for him, whose lips open and blessing and peace, whose speech is pure delight, whose heart meditates in trust and tranquility. Blessed is the eye that merits seeing him, whose tongue's utterance is pardon and forgiveness for Israel, whose prayer is a sweet savor, whose supplication is purity and holiness. Fortunate are Israel in what is stored up for them. Wow. Okay. Hopefully you guys are going to be able to sleep tonight. I want to thank you very much for allowing me to be able to present those three segments. And actually, Kelly suggested we already have dates for 4 other sessions. The question is, what would you like me to teach you? I mean, it's up to you. I know it will be impossible to get one topic. So, Kelly, can you be the person that will write some ideas?
Yep.
And so, what would you like me to teach in the month of...
January 23rd. So the
It'll be again Monday morning. This is an amazing group. And if Monday works, why not to keep Monday there? So some ideas of what would you like me to get busy now for the next month and study and prepare.
That's a tough one for me because I didn't even know Midrash existed. So I wouldn't even know what to ask you.
Okay, I mean, so you know what Judaism, I mean, okay, maybe I'll do the following. On Wednesday, starting very soon, when? In a week? Next week. Next Wednesday, I'm going to teach 3 segments, and it will be about taste of Judaism. So I'll give you a taste. Hopefully it will be easier then to determine. We don't have to make a decision now, but it will help me to prepare the material for that.
I was going to say to you, what else do you feel?
Have you ever done it?
What else do you think we need? No, I mean, all of us, I know this is what Chris did before when she asked you the question and you jumped on her teeth. Okay.
Yes, can I ask you?
I think it will be interesting to go through some books of the Bible and just do it from a Jewish point of view and how we look at this. That could be one avenue. Chris, maybe you can help also with. I mean, you're the one that can tell me also what this community of yours need.
I think, I like the idea of going through the books of the Bible and seeing it from a Jewish perspective, because that's something that we think we know because we've already studied it. But coming from a different perspective, it throws all of what we think we know up in the air, which is easier.
No, not everything that up in the air. Don't, yeah.
How about
Please.
Particularly Paul. I'd like to hear the Jewish perspective
On Paul. He was a nice man. So you want... so that's a whole different angle.
Yeah.
This is teaching Christianity through Jewish eyes, yeah.
Jewish history?
Can we, Jewish history? You want to get depressed? Yeah. I think I will wait with that topic. It's fascinating. I would love to do it one day. It will be nice also to do it with the clergy, to do it side by side. I think it will be more beneficial to do. We are actually are talking about doing things together again in a bar. We're looking for the bar. We know the topics. We're just looking for. No, I'm just kidding. I can also talk about topics. I mentioned one time taking the issue of evil. Maybe going through topics such as evil, such as righteous deed, good deeds. I mean, what is exactly? Maybe explain the terminology of some of this from Jewish point of view, Jewish ethics. We can definitely go through Jewish ethics.
I was thinking about the rule of law and judgment, just from this
Wow.
idea that you mentioned.
Ethics, okay.
I mean, one of the fabulous things about the Jewish culture that I'm aware of is that the whole notion of how we care for one another, how we don't abandon the orphan or the widow or so how do we care for one another? They didn't have Social Security, so how do we care for the culture, the people?
Beautiful. There's a lot of material on that. Anything else? Yes.
I'd be interested in how a modern Jew relates to the status of women.
To the status of women. Oh, we relate very well. Women in Judaism, or women in Jewish tradition, maybe, doing a segment of that. By the way, it doesn't have to be all for the same topic. We can make maybe individual presentations of individual topics each of the Mondays. Okay. I mean, is this sound okay? Yeah, different topics each of the Mondays. Okay. Yes.
How did the Jews during the different periods of their history view authority? I'm thinking of the judges and the kings. And
Or maybe starting with the patriarchs.
Right, patriarchs.
Okay, different models of leadership. Okay. Prophets.
Yeah.
By the way, my presentation about Jewish history can be summarized in one sentence. We came, we lost, let's eat. That's what Jewish history is all about.
I was thinking.
We came, we lost, let's eat.
I was
And
thinking-
that's how we are so still here.
I was thinking of Jewish history as represented in fiction.
Oh my God, literature, wow. Oh, like a book club, kind of a interesting book club on Jewish literature. Wow. Okay, I think we have enough. We have enough for the next 5-6 years. Yeah, God willing, let us all be healthy.
Anybody?
Okay, I got this already.